was fun.
Yeah. I mean, if any sexual pervert, you know, going after somebody, and nothing like that went on evidently. If it did, you never heard of it in this town anyway. Of course, I didn't know they were doing it.
People were different in those days. We were down in East Hennepin.
You're on tape.
Now what are you gonna do?
We were down in East Hennepin. I was standing on a corner there where it comes to a point on East Hennepin. There was an old guy sitting there against a rail. There was a barber shop down the basement. He pulled out his tobacco pouch. He went to yank on it. He yanked too hard. He went over backwards. He head first. He went down to the bottom of that and killed himself.
I don't know.
And it was hardly enough to attract the crowd.
But, you know, that was, as soon as I was, when you talk about hobos, my grandpa was a
If
hobo.
Uncle Alvin comes tomorrow, ask him.
Okay.
That's what he did. Uncle Alvin.
If you could ask Grandma today,
Call Uncle Alvin because he's not gonna come till later.
Oh, he wasn't going to come because
Coming on because it was too late.
Yeah, so maybe if he was calling tomorrow morning and
you know, Grandma used to feed all the hobos. Grandma's house was a marked house. The hobos would be coming along the railroad track to come up 4th Street Northeast, was that it? She was put down as a woman they could get meals from. They come in there, they'd knock on the back door and she'd just mix a plate and set them out in the back steps and they'd eat. And it was a regular day, almost every day they'd have somebody there.
Well, they always had passed that word along. They'd marked a fence or something like that.
No, they just passed word.
Times are real tough then. 30s.
Yeah, it was during the Depression. I mean, some people
Well, I
were
remember
getting
bombs
out,
coming to our
but we
house
were
and on
because
there. We were along
or
with
not
it
at that
for a
time.
while.
Maybe you kids were, you kids were bigger
I
than
remember
that
hobo
because
camps,
your dad was
in Bonnie.
Yeah, but they didn't. Nobody thought anything of it. Somebody coming to beg and asking for food.
No.
It was expected, in fact. Remember, we used to catch a carp down there in the river, and the Jewish guy paid you a dime a piece for him. If you caught a big carp, you could sell it for a
I
dime.
remember to this day, I used to make those, what they call a drop line, but they were a kind of little square type
Hey,
reel.
will you get those
And you had
peanuts out of there?
all
He cannot eat peanuts.
a line wrapped.
Yeah.
And he'll
And that
choke
was,
them.
I think you and I and Tom were fishing down there once. Somewhere there was an island, and I threw that line out
Where's
there.
your juice?
Yeah, potato on it.
Joey,
Something.
Yeah, it was potato. We
And
fished with potato.
something broke my line.
Yeah, it was a giant fish. Yeah, we talked about that for days. This big fish we almost got. But you could buy a fish. You could catch a big carp and sell it to the Jewish people for a dime. That was a dime was a big event.
They make like gefilte fish.
Gefilte fish, yeah.
the Chinese would have bought it for probably 15 cents if they would have been around.
Yeah, the Chinese
European
bought
carp.
dar, what was it Dad said that in Illinois
and,
when he was a
and
kid?
Asian carp were a lot different
And
than
they bought the
these
Chinese.
Mom, they're in a bit
Yeah.
in
different.
our rivers
Yeah.
here.
Well, there's 3 different kinds of carp.
Yeah.
The whole thing was it was tough times in those days, and anybody could do anything and was accepted. If you were trying to make a living or earn a meal, nobody thought this. You know, it was.
You know, one reason why I think all of us are so healthy, can you recall there was a spring that came down off the riverbank?
Yeah, we used to stop there and drink all the time.
And there was
Came out of pipe.
rusted old beat out bucket where the hobos drank, and all of us we couldn't wait to get down there to have a drink of that good water.
All off the same. All off the same.
Yeah.
Everybody drank out of the same. No matter where you went, if there was a pump, a hand pump or anything, there was always one.
Now this is a spring.
I know, but I mean, no matter where you went, there was always one scoop, and everybody drank out of it.
Everybody got the same disease and
Dipper,
same
they call it.
resistance.
Dipper, yeah, that's what we had,
Yeah,
a
take
dipper.
that off.
We all drank
No,
out.
ask,
Yeah, just turn off on the TV. I probably.
It's not gonna screw up the whatchamacallit down
No.
below?
No, because that's different.
huh?
How many cars in this?
We used to go down with them.
All taped?
This off?
You got the game all taped?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the TV's on to watch the game.
Okay, now we're gonna sit here and watch the guys.
Yeah.
Nobody was bashful about going down to the railroad track with a wagon and picking up all the coal you could find. But they had a furniture factory over there. Until they found out they could sell it, you could go down and get the free wood. When they made this curlicues that went on the corners of the,
Yeah, you got the opposite side.
yeah, those were all free until they found out they could sell them. They had to buy them by the ton. And then Dad had to buy it, they'd bring in a truckload of it, and we'd have to throw it down the
Mike,
basement.
do you remember you guys stiffing me early in the morning every damn time the The old furnace went out to get me out of bed to go down and start that thing.
Mom was the one.
Yeah, how are you? This is Tom Weber. Good. Are you guys gonna be able to come tomorrow to my house?
Who's he talking to? Uncle
Oh,
Al?
you were too. Nobody called you?
Said Alvin.
All right.
Said Alvin.
I don't know where he is.
There
Can't be, Mom.
Oh.
Oh, wait a second.
Honey, Marilyn killed
Yeah.
Ready for a cup of coffee,
Said,
Jerry?
"Well,
or-
my favorite uncle can't show up for a party. I'm
What does this say, stop on it?
No, just leave it there.
I'll talk to him too.
This is Mike.
Just leave it go, was it?
Sure.
Mike Weber.
We can delete it later.
Good, and you? I knew as soon as that happened that we'd meet good. Those are my two favorite, the honey wheat bread and the honey loaf, which is a hamburger.
Takes 3 people to drop some his way.
Grandma always had this. We all at Grandma's house. Grandma kind.
I wish you were gonna come tomorrow.
No, the best deal there was Aunt Helen liked that salami.
Who?
Aunt Helen,
Who's Aunt Helen?
Fred Time's daughter, liked salami but with no garlic.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah?
Always had good stuff there.
Who's doing dishes?
When Aunt Rita got married, for 3 weeks after, we used to charge over there every morning to get Grandma out of bed because they had cases and cases of soda down the basement. And the first thing, we wouldn't even wake Grandma up. We'd open up the door to the basement, which is outside, go down there and have a soda.
Good Lord.
And orange soda was really good.
And we
Oh.
lived over north then.
Yeah, we'd go, we would roar over there so early that Grandma wasn't up and having soda.
We didn't live over north then.
Oh,
Yes,
sure
we
we
did.
did when she got married.
No, we lived over north, on Quincy.
Did we still live in Quincy when she
Rita
got
got
married?
married, yeah.
And Rita, yeah.
Because, yeah, she was married to Grandpa Kine when we moved into the North Minneapolis house.
Grandma's here. Are you over here already?
Do you remember what a mess that house was?
What's that?
Oh,
The
yeah.
one
Oh,
in
yeah.
Emerson, when we first moved in?
Tear down all them back buildings?
Well, you didn't see it before we moved in.
Yeah, we all were
We
there.
saw it shortly after, and the best thing I remember is that I think all 3 of us and you were out there and we tore down the sheds in the back.
Yeah.
And Dad came home that night and he was so dumbfounded that we get out there and
Tear 'em down.
Just tore them down.
But you know, it was so dirty
that
in
was,
there.
That was
where,
fun. We got to
where it had been vandalized so much. It had been
ripping
vandalized
that
so much.
stuff down.
Kids would come in there and there was excrement on the side, on the steps going upstairs. And all through the house and everything, and all they could do was take a hose and flush the whole doggone
Yeah,
thing
but remember
out.
what, and
It
it
was
said,
that dirty that you couldn't do
in the
anything else
kitchen,
but
they had a
flush it
stove,
out.
and they said the old grandpa that lived there used to take the coals down, throw them on the floor,
Throw 'em in the corner.
and there was burn marks on the floor from the coals.
Yeah, and then, when we went to clean the kitchen floor, I don't know how many times we had to flush that corner out, even the baseboard out to get all the ashes out of there that insisted, you know.
I forgot about tearing down those sheds though, but you're right.
And then the last kitchen, there was an extra kitchen.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Dad, I said, Dad, can you bust
There
that
was a
tube?
kitchen, an extra, it's like, they call it summer kitchen, and then there was long sheds
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
coal
You know,
sheds.
Dad was sitting there with a, hey, John, my dad was so strong that he had a 2x4. I said, Dad, I bet you can't break that 2x4 over your knee to get. He went, whack, right over his knee. A 2x4. Dad was known, your great-grandfather was known as the strongest man on the east side. He laid his hand down on the ground and he rolled a car over it. And just showed me, nothing to it. He could pick up a whole front of a Model 8.
That's right, I remember that too.
Uncle Bill said that he said he saw my dad do more things. He was the strongest guy, known as the strongest guy on the east side. He'd do anything.
And if he couldn't outstrong you, he could outbluff you.
It wasn't a bluff, he was charged at you.
Just glare at you.
Mom told about the time that some guy slighted him at an intersection, and he chased him all over town in his
You know, I
car.
tried that out this afternoon on Mike, but he didn't fall for it.
What's that?
The glare.
Oh!
Didn't bother me.
You know why? Because we were on the Rome phone. You really couldn't hear that.
You know what? No. I talk to customers like that all the time. What do you want? Oh, well, that's just your happy, go-lucky salesman trying to make a buck by selling you something you don't want.
Most fun I ever had was playing poker with Dad.
Oh, the most fun after, we just talked to Uncle Alvin, and he's kind of like my dad, when I've ever met him or not, but they're young and hearty and just full of beans, and my dad came back from the war, and they were sitting out in the backyard drinking beers, and I forget how all this came around, but talking about haircuts. And my dad said, well, I'll cut off all my hair if you will. And Uncle Alvin said, I sure will. So they went down to the
Get
barber.
your head shaved, yeah?
And they got their, except I think Uncle Alvin backed off.
No, they
No, they
both
both
had, okay, I'm gonna end up with a little bit longer, he had more of a crew cut than Dad.
No, but Dad's hair
But,
was
but was Mom mad, I remember that. You were just fit to be tied.
Yeah.
She screamed
Well,
at
we
him
had
for a
a
whole
family
day.
picnic that was 4th of July or something. We had a family
Yeah.
picnic.
Yeah,
And I think you still got some pictures of that around somewhere. I've
I
seen them.
got them upstairs maybe in the box of pictures, yeah.
He and Alvin said, if you will, I will.
You can see
But the
the,
whole thing was in those days, you didn't have a lot to do except, you didn't have TV. You didn't have all the stuff we have today to entertain you.
had radio and that was about
You just
it.
went out and got drunk and had fights, right?
You had-
Yeah, well, a lot of people did that, but a lot of people didn't, you know. It was depending on which crowd you were in.
Yeah, if there's more left,
more
I'll have some
wine?
more. No? All done?
This one's gone.
The main thing was, John, was that
You might have, there's some more over there.
you had to make your own fun. Whatever you did, you had to do it yourself. One of the things we did when we were kids is you got an old skate and you took it apart. You got a 2x4 and you nailed one half on each end of this old skate. You got an apple box from the store and you nailed that on. You took another apple box and made a handle on it, and that was your scooter. You also took the same apple box and you made a design on it, you cut out this design. You got an old inner tube and you cut rubber bands off an inner tube. And on the shape of a gun, you took
Fire
a,
gun, yeah.
you took a long piece of a little narrow band of wood about, an inch wide and that long, and you run a nail through it and threw a bottle cap into the rubber band gun. You put a rubber band across it that held this trigger forward. When you pulled it back, you stretched another rubber band over the front of it and hooked it in there. You tied a big knot in it, because you always flew
Flaps
better.
will go straight.
And you stretch that, you put that band behind that and you stretch over the front, and when you pull the trigger, it releases it, you can shoot at each other.
Up from here to the window, you go from here to the wall over there.
And that was,
Depends how long you made it. And if you're really nifty, you can make a machine gun.
Yeah.
You could have,
You
4 or
pull a
5 of
string,
them.
you pull it, you
That's
have a
a
notch.
good
Yeah.
They said
You had a
they
notch?
used to, but they used to use inner tubes on the
well,
machine.
inner tubes, yeah, that's what the rubber bands were.
The
it's the
machine
same as
gun
that
deal
gun
was
that
a
you
string that
got.
went down into each notch,
yeah.
and you
Where's
stretched the
yours?
rubber band to each notch, and you got to the end, and you had 6 or 8 of those, and then you just pulled the string, and then you shot 6 or 8 of them.
Well, Dad made some of those for us, but
Bruce
his
was
mom
getting
made me
fancy
put
with them.
those
He was
away.
doing the kids' initials in them and everything
You
with
could
the
put a
rubber.
double knot in there, green sting up
Lab's
close.
getting a little bit too
I
much.
don't know, I think it
They kept him busy.
The big tool for kids was a
But then
coping
the thing
saw.
was all the neighbor kids had to have a turn and
If you had
everybody
a
had to
coping
have
saw, you
handful
could
of
cut almost
fingers.
anything. One of the things that I still remember this day was Ronnie Johnson had his dad's Model T. And we were all sitting there and standing there alongside the curb. And Ronnie Johnson pulls up and he said, spin the tires, spin the wheels. And he popped the clutch and the tire stood there and the rim turned. Needless to say, we were just absolutely doubled over at laughter.
You know, speaking of those little carts you were just talking about where you put the roller skates on the...
Yeah, scooters we call them.
I just saw a TV program in the last couple of weeks. It was kind of an old style, and I think it's real dumb TV, but one of the scene shots was these kids going down the street with an orange crate.
Yeah, an apple crate, yeah.
Going like 60,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Remember this, and that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Was it on an old time movie or what?
No, it was some kind of a new, it's a real dumb TV program. It's about a Chicago cop, and it's real slow.
I don't have glasses on, just throw it away.
Slow.
What we liked about it was
There's
that
one called Downtown, is it where we?
the noise with the old skate
What's
made
that
on a concrete
TV
sidewalk.
program that I thought I liked with the good actors, but it's so damn slow.
Run up against that, kid.
Detective show or
Yeah.
Detective show?
Run up against that.
something like that.
He's a tough guy.
Belongs to the birthday balloon thing.
I just bought it at work and I figured we could have it.
John, did you get a chance to talk to Dave's brother.
Now what are you gonna do?
He was
Now
up
what are you
there.
Give us please tell me how it helped.
What are you gonna
And
do?
Dave plays
Oh,
guitar.
suck me right in the jaw.
Took his belly
Suck
button.
you right in the nose.
Took his belly
Although
button.
they've never been playing together. But
Oh, you are? Okay. I won't do that to you.
Take him anyway, I'll take
Dennis
him.
used to play in a lot of different
You're a good
bands.
boy. You a good
And
boy?
Dave didn't play much. He plays mostly acoustic.
Ah,
But,
suck hole.
little brother's really good.
Suck hole.
Hasn't played a lot lately, but
Careful, you'll bump your head, get a big outie.
you guys do that.
Well, my hands are all screwed up from mechanicking today. Look at that.
I sometimes wonder how mom ever put up with all this stuff we did.
Where was it, in the bathroom?
We never got in a lot of trouble
She told me this afternoon coming over, you know, she didn't know about 90% of
though. Yeah, she didn't know we went down all these places. It was nothing to, it was nothing to go way out in the boondocks.
Yeah.
We lived in North Minneapolis at Brooktown, or what's that big shopping center north of Grandma's? That was all fields over there. And all the way, that highway wasn't even there. The only thing that was all in all that area, the only thing that was there was a greenhouse there. And we forgot to shoot rabbits.
There are potato farms out there.
Where's that?
Right north of town up there. Off of,
No, it's just south of here.
No,
no, north.
not, it wasn't near here, it's over on the other side of town. But when you go out to that Brookdale, none of that was there, it was all fields. It was Brown's farm, remember the dairy farm?
Yeah, but that's north of here, Mike. That's just right up here a little ways. You
Tom, it's on the other side of the river, over where Brookdale is. I'm not talking about
Earl
this side of the
Brown.
river. Earl Brown farm.
Earl Brown Farm.
I'm pointing the wrong direction, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
north of here.
No,
No,
south.
across the river.
Are we north of there?
Because it's on the other side of the freeway.
I guess
It's
we
on
are.
690,
Yeah.
where
Okay.
694 and 100 come together on the
I
other
guess I forgot where
side.
it was.
On the table?
Well, it's the same as when we moved out here, they were just building North Town. All
The
that
whole
they
thing
were
is in those days,
Somewhere, well, I don't think you guys did, but at least with Trish and I, there was a truck farm just north of the Camden Bridge, and
south of the Camden Bridge.
no,
Those truck farms are all south. North of the Camden Bridge is the Old Falls, Camden
excuse
Falls.
me, south, yeah.
Yeah, because we all worked there.
Yeah.
No, south of Laurie is actually the truck
If you go
farm.
there now, Michael, it's all totally different.
Yeah, but the vegetable truck farms were all south of Laurie there, and you get the weeded. You can weed a half mile of carrots for 15 cents, right?
I was gonna put them in
And
the
pick a
cupboard.
bushel of radishes for a
Give
nickel.
me one
Yeah.
of those cups. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
get up.
50
Time.
pounds of potatoes for 7 cents.
Oh, then we didn't get a nickel for a bushel of carrot or radishes now. Yeah, that number is fixed.
You could walk on your knees and weed, and by the time you got to the end of the row, your pants were wore out.
Did your husband get new glasses?
How much for?
It was 7 cents for 50 pounds of potatoes.
He's not the only one
Hand-picked.
that.
And loaded in the truck.
I can't see you get there.
I got mine
Oh,
on.
whatever it was.
You had to go down the rows of carrots or whatever it was. You didn't have it.
You did a quarter in a day. That was big money, boy. That was.
One of them fancy apple pies used to buy were a nickel. And it was expensive for kids.
7 cents for 50 pounds sticks in my mind, but I don't know why. That might be a different deal. Something. Maybe we had to dig up for that.
We took all the leftovers from the carrots and dumped them in the Mississippi River. Everything that was done was in the Mississippi River. That old Mississippi River gobbled up a lot of garbage in this state.
Not really. We got the kitchen.
I've got a customer named Ralph Powell. Said he was the guy who used to drive the old truck down to Unity House and pick up all the kids, go up to this place and pick potatoes.
I got a good garage sale.
And I was one of the kids who used to get on that thing and go up there. And he's now selling my products.
The glass dishes in there and stuff.
When you go up Humboldt, when you go up
Now,
Humboldt,
I put it against the
the old elevator is still up there in his place. And when you go across the railroad tracks,
when you first walked into
the jogs across, it cuts at an angle. And it intersects with Penn, where Penn where Penn ends, and you jog to the left a little bit and you go north.
Go there, wouldn't it?
Well, right in through there used to be a pole yard up there, years when we were kids. Lived right by the railroad track was a pole yard, and then there was the old grain elevator and stuff was right on the other side of those tracks. Then beyond that, on that road was all cornfields and farms all the way out. And that road now, I think Highway 152 or something. No, I'm not sure what the highway number is.
You had a paper out when you were a kid. It doesn't have 100 or 120 papers. And now
Mornings, evenings, and Sundays.
And a kid has 40 papers now. He's really struggling, he thinks.
Yeah.
Tear out some of the cupboards or something.
Well, I remember I had about 50 morning papers, and I had over 100 evenings, and well over 100
And
Sundays.
Red Anderson had 2 routes.
No, I think
He had about 280 papers a
This
day.
doesn't fit as good as it did in our
Plugged
old
them right out, just like nothing.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of room.
And
but
the
it's
guy was trying to cheat me on Saturday all the time when they brought the money in.
What was that station master's name?
No, whatever. Tom is about 6.
No, I mean that old guy. That,
Oh, they all cheated you. They all tried to anyway. Dad come over one day and really blew up. I counted the money before I come over Sunday, 50 cents for it. Bullshit.
Said it takes us 2 hours to empty the thing out and fill it back up again.
oh, boy. Harry, that guy, was that guy's name Harry, that old guy?
Remember up at the Northtown Bar? What was his name? The guy that ran it? Yeah, the Northtown Bar right up there. No, the Blue Eagle Bar. The guy had all his pot stored in the back, and we found out that we could slip a...
Oh,
In the
yeah.
back corner where he stored his pop, we could slip a board out, and right inside was a pop. We could reach in and sneak pop out.
That's the kind of guy his Uncle Mike hung out.
See, that went on for about 3 weeks till I figured out what was happening and moved the pot back. We couldn't reach it anymore. We tried spearing it with things.
What
And
was this thing? I found $33 laying in a trash bin behind his place. The Simonson kids and I. $33 rolled up, and on top of I remember he had a big pile of broken glass and garbage back there. It was laying right there, and we took it home, and we were divvying it up, and Mom caught us, and she called the cops. We turned it over to the cops, and we eventually got it back.
where's Mother? She doesn't remember the guys.
Mom?
Mother!
This guy that owned the Blue Eagle? Or?
Yeah, Blue Eagle.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the big event over on there.
The Blue Eagle.
What's the name of the guy that owned the Blue Eagle? Pulvermacher.
Pulvermacher.
Never mind, we just remembered. Pulvermacher. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember the time I found the money behind his place, Mom?
Second World War, they had a iron and rubber drive on.
What?
Any iron and rubber you got paid for because you needed it. It was important to the war. And we found an old tire back there. We got 15 cents out of him. Roy Pulvermacher had it fit. It was still a good tire. He said it wasn't, but he had planned on turning it in himself.
Do you remember the old Sheeny used to come down the alley? That same old guy.
You know what a
Long
sheeny is?
coat.
Yeah. Guys, trying to sell you stuff or?
No,
they
we
bought-
sold stuff. Yeah.
Bought junk, rags, and steel, and
All the guys that owned all the junkyards in North Minneapolis all started out as Sheenies. And they had a cart and a horse, and they bought rags and iron and stuff like that.
poor old spavined horse and an old broken down cart.
And what happened was then, Second World War came on. They hired all these Sheenies to pick up all the scrap they couldn't haul it. And down by Ascension School, there was a old public school across the street, with a
Logan
great
School.
big yard.
Logan School.
And they loaded that damn yard up with, higher than this room here by quite a bit, with scrap iron of all kinds. And they hired all,
Good looking stuff. There was. I remember.
oh, they even had a Japanese machine gun sitting on top. Boy, we tried to get that in the worst way. Every kind of scrap there was, good
I
stuff.
remember there was an old World War I helmet in there that I wanted real bad. And
I mean, there was files and tools, and anybody that had iron or steel that they didn't need, they turned it in for the war.
some old guy even drove an old car. Do you remember that?
And we all took turns smashing it in this whole car. We all went in there and got an iron bar, and we smashed that car down to nothing. And the old guy that was watching it, he was right in there with us. That was a big event. I was probably, it was probably a good car too. If he had it today, it was worth money. But
Who drove it in there?
the whole attitude in those days was that anything you could do to help the war effort along was considered really good. It wasn't like now.
The point of this, when times were tough in the Depression, Franklin Roosevelt formed a group called the
You got it on tape.
National Recovery Act, NRA, and the symbol of that was the Blue Eagle. And that was the De Beer joint up there.
That's right. Yeah.
The Blue Eagle.
And so that was kind of the idea of better times are coming.
Well, that's when Roosevelt pushed through all that legislation that was later repealed.
You know what?
Yeah, but it worked.
You know what it is? They got up and they said, we're voting on this act. And the guy waved around as actual fact a roll-up piece of newspaper, and they voted on it, passed it. There was nothing on it. It was a roll-up piece of newspaper.
And they wrote
They wrote the act after. It was that hard, times were that hard.
Banks for a weekend.
Yeah, but every bit of that was later repealed as being unconstitutional, but it was years later.
It was too late.
Yeah, it was too late to
Get the country out of bad times. With the Blue Eagle, that was
They had a.
You remember old Louis Moore walking down there with a bucket to get a bucket of beer?
Louis.
That was the Red Moors and John's dad, old Louis. Little.
But you know, if you look at Minneapolis for labor, you know, there's real tough times. In fact, there's a real classic picture of labor trouble in Minneapolis that to this day is the most horrifying picture I can see. There was a strike, and I can't recall who was on strike.
The truckers.
But there's a guy swinging a baseball bat, and he's clubbing another guy.
That's the truckers were on strike, and
That was bad.
that was in the 30s. That was the late 30s here.
Sounds like a movie I got.
Well, you know, the United States in the 30s was like Europe is, or like South America is
Yeah, but
today.
Minnesota's and
No, what I'm saying is, the attitudes of people had very low. They didn't look at life like they do now. They didn't look at rights, human rights, as they do now. South America's still like that, and Europe is still like that to a large extent. Africa's even behind that, but
different.
Matter of fact, that was right down in Washington Avenue.
I don't recall where it was, but
Downtown, right close to downtown is where all those strikes were.
and there were strike breakers, and boy,
They were
thugs.
paid.
They were all thugs.
they weren't thugs. They were just paid to fight the other guy. You know what? If they didn't do it, they were fired. The next guy had to do it.
Use your base?
that's
Football.
that's tough.
What football?
Alvin was a strike breaker.
John's? Well, that's John's, and you can't have it.
Dad almost.
Remember one time Dad and Alvin got in that fight in the kitchen? And
Yeah.
Dad beat him up pretty good.
No, it was the other way around. Alvin beat up was getting the best of Dad. No, the one I remember was that Dad was pushing Mom around, and Uncle Alvin intervened.
Take
Well,
Louise
that may be a
down.
different
And that was a different time, and Uncle Alvin ended up getting the best of him, and Dad really was chastised that somebody finally beat him. He was, you know, this was a big event for him. Nobody had ever pushed Dad around before, and Uncle Alvin took him right down and sat on him. And my dad was considered really a tough guy in those days, and here was somebody putting him down and moved. This never happened before. Ask Mom.
Well, that may be, but the point is, in those days, you did whatever you had to. I mean, Dad was always kind of the opposite way. I don't think Dad ever felt the strike.
I don't think so.
If he was when the union brass went out of work, he was.
He almost got fired because he wouldn't support the union.
I remember he went.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No, he lost all his rights.
That's when he went to work for Schaefer.
No,
Yeah.
he lost all his rights because he didn't go on picket.
Yeah, but that was after a long time. But he never went back to work for union brass till after it was all settled.
Yeah, that's right. But there was a time there when they were on strike that he went to work for Schaefer making freezers and refrigerators. Remember that? And that's where he lost his union rights. Was because
I
he took a
remember
different
when
job.
he and what was the guy that lived next to him? The tall guy.
Next to us? Well, Schmidt was on one side. The guy next to Schmidt.
No. We lived over the George of Adam Street.
Oh,
Bartlett.
horrible.
Orville Bartlett. We're getting a new stove, and the Sheeny come by and bought the stove for Dad. For like about a quarter or 35 cents or something. And he wanted Dad and Uncle Bartlett to dig it down, so Dad and Uncle Bartlett took the stove and threw it over the railing. And it smashed into 1,000 pieces.
I don't remember that.
Oh, and that Sheeny man, oh, was he upset. They just laughed over that. No, wait a minute. Mother, tell Mother to come here. I want to be supported in this. Mom, tell Mother to come in here. Rosemary, Tell Mom to come in here for a minute.
You can tell what color it was before.
I'll go and ask her.
No, they'll come in and ask you what happened. Here's Mom over here, Tom, Terry. She's here.
What do you want?
What happened was that time Mom and Dad sold the stove to the Sheedy. We lived up over the store on Adams Street, and he and Uncle Bartlett, what did they do with the stove?
What do you want?
When they sold the stove to the Sheedy that time.
Well, instead of carrying down the stairs, they just.
Oh,
Yes, they did.
busted
They
it.
stood there and they dropped it over the railing from the second floor down to the ground and it broke in a million pieces. And they had already collected the money from the
The Sheedy, Jerry, I'll never forget that this Sheedy had the sickest luck of any man you ever saw.
Well, he thought he'd go out and sell the stove to somebody else, you know. And they made scrap out of it for him. He and Orville Barton, they just stood there and they lifted it up and let it drop. I was there, that's not.
I leaned over the rail and watched it hit.
Did you ever hear that before, Tommy?
Yeah, no, I never did till now.
Well, how about when the guy behind us came over and beat me up? I was standing over there and some guy come along and just grabbed hold of me, shook me, pounded me all over, and I don't know what's going on. And apparently the kids, you being one of them, was throwing rocks over this guy's shed, this DP. He said, "He come over and beat the crap out of me," so Dad went over there and just beat him up something terrible.
Then he was going to sue Dad.
Yeah.
Was that the time you guys put the hose down through the crack
No,
in
that
the
was
floor?
different, the DPs. Do you remember that?
Poured the water down through the hose?
The DPs lived downstairs. Something happened, their front windows were broken. This is nothing in those days to have windows broke. And Jerry and I got a hose, and the hose had a curve in it. There was a knot hole, and we lived up in the second story in this porch. We put this hose down there, and the curve went right into our window. We got a funnel, and Jerry and I just steady ran and got water, poured it down that funnel. And the DP come out there, just both of them were deaf and dumb. We called them DPs in those days, and they just screamed and hollered at us. They didn't know how to talk. They didn't know they couldn't talk because in those days they didn't teach people to talk. You know, they screamed at us, shouted.
Well, I don't have any questions.
People, you see, the whole, all times are different then. If you couldn't, see what they're doing over there playing with that game? There was no such thing as any game to play with. You invented a game or you didn't play it. So whatever you did was invented.
Or you drew pictures, or you listened to the radio, or whatever.
I learned to read the Saturday Evening Post upside down. Because you turn the pages, I would lay it upside down, look at the pictures. Everything we did was you made yourself. We didn't start getting stuff for toys for Christmas till.
Oh, after the war. Yeah. Well, after the war.
It was a big event was when I got a cap gun for Christmas. I couldn't believe it. Instead of, the only thing they gave us before that was clothes.
Clothes and candy.
The rubber binder guns and scooters and that were made. That was all the main event of the toys. But Wheaties and Kellogg's cornflakes and that all had little specials where you could take a nickel, cut off a Wheaties box top and send it in. They had some sort of a damn thing you could send for that worked for about half a day. We have got it right here. We had one of the big events was you could send in for a Post Toasties box top and a nickel was a hycometer. A hycometer.
You put that on and
You
tell you how
clipped it
far
on
you
your
walk.
belt, and every time you made a step, this inertia thing then clicked to one. And you walk all around the block, and it would tell how far you walked. Well, that stuff lasted about 3 days.
They still have those things around, don't they?
Yeah.
You still get them, yeah.
But anyway, then another one was that, I don't know how it worked, but you had this cardboard tube with wings in that you sent for it, for the Post Toasties or Kellogg's, whatever it was. And the sucker would fly around for a little while. It pushed something and it would shoot it off in the air and would fly, and that lasted about 2 days. None of those toys is about, there was no longevity to them. Remember the hycometer?
Oh,
And the glider pilot, the glider,
the hycometer is from,
some cereal.
Kellogg's Post Toasties.
One of those. Postum or
Jack Armstrong.
on the All American Boys, yeah.
Oh, that wheat cereal. Yeah.
Aunt Rita worked for the place that mailed out a bunch of that stuff. Do you recall that?
No, I don't.
Next time you see our Aunt Rita, you ask her.
See you tomorrow.
In the old days, you ask her tomorrow now, you ask her, in the old days when you bought a Cheerio, 1 out of every 156 of that said free on it. After you ate the Cheerio and you got another Cheerio for it. Aunt Rita was the best forger that ever lived. She could take one of them Cheerio sticks and write free in there.
It was also popsicle.
No, it was Cheerio mainly.
Popsicles, too.
No, but the main thing was Aunt Rita could forge. Aunt Rita could take that popsicle stick and write free on there, which you could get on. She could forge that perfect. Whenever she forged one, you could get a free one out of it. She was a master forger. Ask her if she's still. Ask her tomorrow. When you see her, ask her. Aunt Rita, remember forging the free on the Cheerio sticks? Let's see what she says.
Can't need to find her one, bring it with.
Just ask her if she remembers that. We used to be able to go in the store and what they had was they had sold little brown bags. You could they had what did they call them? They had all this different candy in it for a nickel or something.
Well, grab
A free but grab bag they called it.
Yeah.
The grocers would take a little grab bags and put 3 or 4 different pieces of
Junk.
junk candy in it.
Candy and some junk,
It was all mostly candy.
Grab
Different
bags
kinds.
were 2 cents, as I recall.
And they called it a grab bag. You can run in and throw 2 cents down and say, give me a grab bag. And you never knew what was in it. It was pretty good. Because it was, in those days, you didn't have you didn't have ice cream or you didn't have cake.
Still a rip-off.
Oh,
It was a rip-off, but I mean, no, it wasn't really a rip-off because
Once in a while, I got something good,
I remember one time we went in there and they had this, they were selling this chocolate fudge and there was wormholes in it. And the guy pulled it all out, picked the worms out and put it back in the sack. No, but I mean, but that was because, they didn't have insecticides in those days and there was nothing to find worms or maggots and something, so they would, crack it and it was not considered anything bad to clean up a product that had worms or something in it.
I'd forgotten about grab bags.
I can vaguely remember, but I...
Remember what did they call them? Jawbusters?
Oh, jawbreakers. Jawbreakers,
You
yeah.
chewed on them suckers all the way to melt.
In different colors.
Different layers. They were hard candy. They were
About that big.
3/4 of an inch in diameter.
And you had to slip on them for an
And
hour.
you could not crunch them with your teeth. They were that hard. You had to
That's why they
slip
call
them.
them jawbreakers.
And nowadays you buy them, you go halfway through, then they're gonna solid.
Well, these were solid all the way through.
But they had about 8
These are
layers of
the
color.
ones you buy
There'd be,
Still,
there'd be
you're getting by the color
licorice and or anise, and it'd be alternating layers, lemon.
Well, I bought 2 packs of them when we went out to their place.
Rick? Yeah?
Stopped at the gas station.
The big thing in those days was go down and look in the screen door and say, Dad, are you in there? Dad, Mom said to come home right now. I'm not kidding.
You guys remember Holloway suckers?
Yeah.
The all-day suckers?
All day suckers, you call them.
Yeah.
Real thick caramels.
Yeah, Bristol. You couldn't hardly chew them down.
They were so
I used to
tough.
sit up in. Where is it? This hand here. You can't see it hardly anymore. There's a scar there somewhere. See it right there? When I was a kid, they had these real cheap paring knives that you came with cereal. Sitting there stabbing one in the
Well, I was
ground.
with you when you did that.
And I stabbed it in and pulled it up, and the handle came up, and then I stayed there when I stabbed down and poked a hole in it right
I
there.
remember that. I was with you when you did that.
And I probably ran up the house and shaking my hand, and was blood all over the place.
Would you like something, Jerry? Some coffee or something to drink? Or
I might have a brandy.
Maybe some little glasses we can sip everything.
The brandy isn't bad, Jerry.
I think that's about gone though, isn't it?
Oh, there's one left in there.
We'll save that for Uncle Tom. He likes brandy.
So we didn't have football or basketball or baseball in grade school.
I've got another bottle of brandy, but it's just E&J. But go ahead
Sure,
and
go
finish
ahead
that.
and drink that.
Drink that up.
E&J's all right.
I remember when we were kids, somebody was saying, said, don't ever get in the car with anybody, because you never know what happened. And all those kids are down there, and these bums come up, these drunks come up in this car, and remember the front door's open this way, and the rear door's open this way, and these bums are back there trying to get us in, and I'm not sure if Jerry was your Pat. We were all set to get in, and one of you hollered out, don't get in there, so I don't know what they described, and we all took off running. But they had the same kind of
Mike,
scoop off.
you know, I'm getting on to about 50%, John.
I have a good memory
Get
for it.
these ideas.
He makes them up as he goes along.
Do you remember when we lived over the store over there, not on Adam Street, but the one previous to that?
Quincy?
No,
Spring, we
No,
lived in.
before Adam Street.
it was before Adams. You weren't.
I remember, ask Mom. I remember,
We lived on Spring.
do you remember we had all the barrels in the backyard and us kids used to fight to see who could get inside the barrel and the rest of us sat outside and look at them. We laid the barrels and we're on the side. And the dog had the pups in the bed.
No, that was on, that was the red brick building on Washington. And, yeah, it was a red brick building.
And we were over the store, the empty store. The house, the apartment over the empty store.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
on
Spring Street?
No, that was Washington, because that was on that far corner, not too far from the Syrian grocery store.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I remember the Syrian grocery. I know I was close to that.
Yeah.
We had the dog, and I woke up and said, look at all rats in
Yeah,
bed.
that was, that dog's name was,
Mom,
yes.
Mother,
Just a minute, I'll tell you in a minute.
John, are all the adapters downstairs?
tell Mother to come
God,
in
I
here
had it there,
again.
then I lost it.
Three-prong adapters, are they all downstairs?
Tell Mother to come in here.
Get one
An
pretty hard for her to get up and come in.
Snooky.
Rosemary,
Snooky.
Snooky, yeah.
Yep, that was Snooky.
Rosemary, tell Mother to come in. We need her to refresh her memory.
Mike, it's hard for her to
She had
get in
that
there.
pups up in her bed.
And I woke up, oh, Mom, there's always rats in bed.
There's 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, we
Well
kept
done.
burying them.
We buried him and she dug him up
We
and brought him
buried them
back.
in the ashes. We kept burying them and bringing them up. Mom, Mother.
That's about the same time I fell off the bed and hit, split my head open. And then
That was on Adams.
Was that on Adams?
Yeah.
Jerry was right on Washington Street. I remember being in the crib over there, and there was this, outside the hallway was some garments hanging up, and the sun was shining in through the window, and it was, the shadow on the garments made it look like there was some guy like this with a face and 2 hands like this.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to get out of the crib because I saw that guy out there.
That's good.
Yeah, but you know, in those days, anything you had to play with was a big event. We had all these empty barrels in the backyard, and the kids just, each one, if you latched down the barrel, you got to keep it, but
You,
nobody
you
else.
remember
could get in
taking
there.
baths in the old tub?
Yeah.
Mom would fill the tub up with hot water from the stove.
Square tub.
Yeah.
And so I had that.
The square tub
The old-
over
the old-
Quincy.
The old tub.
Square one. Hey. Take a bath every Saturday with it, either than another.
Come on, get out. That's not a good place to hide. Come on. Out of there. It's not a good.
Wonder if any of that's still there.
No, Carol and Mom and Julian Weed or somebody took a tours of that one time, and we got a bunch of pictures.
That's right, I guess you have, yeah.
Grandma's house still there?
All of it was, you know, it's been a long time. Carol and I drove through there one time, but we're staying with
Upside
her.
down on it. And then there was another little three ring
That's
thing that
changed so
was
much.
supposed to be
You know, you didn't have to have very much money in those days, but they considered you rich.
bread so I could make toast.
Yeah.
And there were
In fact, if you just had a car, you were considered well-to-do. Because Grandpa Kime had a car, nobody else did, and he was considered
Oh, Bill
well-to-do.
Doyle had a car, don't you remember that old?
Nah, that was later, Tom. That was later.
He had a 36 Chevrolet.
Yeah, but that was quite a while after. When we were kids going over Grandma's house, about that time Aunt Rita, let's mention up somewhere on Aunt Rita. In those days,
Yeah, you're right. 'Cause
Second
Alvin
World
had a-
War and before, if you had a car, you were considered quite
Alvin
well-to-do.
had a
He had a
car.
Plymouth. He had a Plymouth.
Yeah, but Uncle Alvin was always known to have something different than anybody else.
But that was later on. That was in the late 30s.
No, that was in the 40s, after he got out of the Merchant Marine.
No, that was before.
Oh, wait, I'll take it back, because that was before the Second World War. Because we're over in Quincy then. Dad, remember Dad got that car for the weekend and was thinking of buying it. Mom just cried all weekend because we couldn't afford it. We never did
Well,
get
you
it.
know, Dad bought that first Model A for $35.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That coupe
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
with
What
the
was
rumble
wrong with
seat? Coupe with a rumble
it? No, we
seat.
didn't have that very long.
Well, he went into service.
Went to service on, yeah.
He,
Sold.
he bought it for 35 and sold it for 50 or 70.
I mean, you know, he made a lot of money. It sold for like 90 or whatever it was. Doubled his money, so to speak.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was riding in the rumble seat and he was coming down the alley there in Emerson and he pulled in the yard and I jumped out and hid in the bushes. They got out and they got started looking around. Where's Tom? Jeez, he must have bounced out of the car. Got all agitated and then I came out of the bushes laughing. He got madder than hell and smacked me. He didn't think it was very funny.
Because when he came back after the war, the first car he bought was at Hudson.
Yes. Oh, the 36 Hudson Terraplane. He used to carry the 5-gallon pail of oil in the trunk because he used so much oil.
Reclaimed oil. At a nickel a gallon. Oh, geez. You know, that's old.
Oh, yeah.
Should write a book about that.
Mike's got a better memory for a lot of the stuff than I have. I don't remember.
You know, some of the stuff that Mike talks about, I just like everything.
I think it's a question of whether or not you were there when it happened, you know. I remember things that happened that maybe nobody else was there when they happened. I think that's the case with Mike, you know. I think he was just there when a lot of the stuff happened. Like tossing that stove off the...
Yeah, but he was so damn small then.
Well,
Then it's bedtime. It'll be okay, Jerry. Let me see.
I guess it doesn't make a difference if you're...
Well, you know, you're talking earlier about the time you cracked your head, and you know, I thought you had died that time.
Jeez.
We're all up there goofing over. What happened? Oh, we're all goofing around, you know, kids do, you know, horsing around. And
hurt your
Tom
fingers.
cracked his head against the back of the bed.
Don't bang the wall, please.
That's something else about your mother. I'll never forget that. We were all down the street at Jerry Brady's house.